Amazing, Sammy. By the way, thanks for the time, brother. I really, really appreciate you doing this.
You're welcome, man.
But
Happy to be here with you.
thank you. And just to get the conversation kind of like started, uh,
Mhm.
for people that don't, and I know you've done a couple of interviews before, so if people want to dive deep into the story and everything, they can do that in other resources. But just so people can have a general context of who you are, the brand, the story, can you give us like a brief bio and introduction? It doesn't have to be too long, 30, 60
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah, fine. So my name is Sammy. I'm from Germany. I'm half Egyptian, half German, but born and raised here in Germany. I actually never did something else in my life rather than fashion. I started in retail with 15 years, 16 years. Then I've been on a how you call that in English, like on a high school for fashion management. Then I continued my bachelor degrees in Amsterdam at the Amsterdam Fashion Institute. And while studying, I always worked in fashion wholesale agencies, delivering, selling high-end fashion from foremost Italy to the German or to the DACH market. And then after finalizing my studies, I started my first professional job in the industry at a former German design brand. It's called Strenes. We like a high-end designer brand, 80% women's driven, 20% men's. But with the men's, for example, we did the German national team 2006. We did the whole suiting for them, etc. I was doing sales, so I had always a sales focus. I was responsible for the whole northern and eastern part of Germany. Then I progressed internally, and then I was at the end, after 4 years, I was responsible for entire Germany for that brand. Then I did a big switch in my life. I went to a very progressive denim brand called G-Star, G-Star Raw from Amsterdam. Started there as a key account manager. Then I progressed being the head of sales for Germany, Switzerland, and Austria for the whole B2B business. So for the whole wholesale business. And during my career, the last 12 years, I figured out that the market changed heavily, that we have different challenges and different opportunities, same coming along with it. And so I was wondering, so I'm not believing anymore in the industry as it was or as it been the last years. And I think we are in a big momentum of change. And that's why I decided to create my own brand in order to adapt to the market changes and to create a product and a concept which is very adaptive to the current market developments. Today, next to it, I'm working as a lecturer at my former university, and I'm teaching lessons like menswear and future retail. So this is the playground I'm very happy with, and I'm enjoying being part of it. It's menswear and how retail gonna develop in the future.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I guess the first question that I want to ask as a follow-up is because you do have a sales background, very traditional
Yeah,
fashion sales background.
yeah,
But the fashion brand that you have is obviously almost like a private tailoring services. So by appointment only,
yeah,
again, not at all fitting into kind of like the fashion sales structure. So give us a little bit
yeah.
of context, like what disappointed you about the overall system and why did you start a brand that goes against it essentially?
Oh, I think, in my opinion, there's a mismatch or within a lot of fields. So where to start? Um, so everything what we are doing, everything what we are organizing, everything what we are producing, everything what we are managing, is leading to the moment where the consumer meets your product in a multi-label environment or in a mono-label environment. But talking about the multi-label environment, because Germany or Central Europe is still very reliable on department stores, on smaller stores, on concept
Physical
stores.
interaction.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so this is like our main business, right? Not the mono stores or the own retail. So it's more a multi-label environment where brands are placed in. But we are doing everything, um, but we are forgetting about this very specific moment where the consumer meets the product at a multi-label environment. And there nothing is happening. There's no magic happening. It's just solid merchandise on hanging dead on racks, and we have less stuff, we have less traffic, we have less excitement in retail at this moment, and there's a mismatch where it comes to this moment where the consumer meets the product. So I think that's the reason why we're having such difficulties at the moment, regaining traffic back, having a service in retail which stands out, having people in retail which are standing out. And that's why we're losing interest of consumers out there. And that's why we are, since a couple of years now, in this difficult situation, because retail sucks, retail is boring. And after this digital overload the last 20 years, people are heading towards retail again, but they are disappointed because
for a new type of retail.
Well, there's no, this is not happening. The new type of retail is not happening, and this I want to do with my brand, and that's why I'm standing out, obviously since day one with my concept, because I'm focusing on the point of sale, and I want to create a momentum together with my consumers at the point of sale, which is lasting and outstanding.
Interesting. And could you give us a brief overview of essentially what the business model looks like? So, just so people that are not familiar with this model, like how does it look from A to Z? So a customer who walks into a physical space or an online store and they place an order and you meet in person, figure like what's the model, the entire A to Z model looking like? So it's something that a lot of people are not familiar with. Now it's either, as you said, it's either you go through retailers or you sell directly through a consumer through a website.
Yes. So what I'm having, I'm close to launch my online shop, but I was really hesitating to launch an online shop because what it really ensures, and this is the overall aim and target of the brand, is to ensure an outstanding consumer interaction wherever you meet our brand. So when I started 2.5 years ago, a huge German department store chain, Bräuninger, was already attracted by my product because I was more or less the first one who transferred streetwear silhouettes into high-end tailoring. So this is like my let's say aesthetic approach on my brand, to deliver high-end tailoring, but on more streetwear silhouettes. I was one of the first here in this country to drop the oversized trousers, tailored trousers, the cropped oversized tailored trousers, the oversized suit jackets, etc., etc. So this is my aesthetic. So this appealed to them, and then I found myself in a brand environment. After delivering 4 months later, I found myself in a brand environment with all the big brands out of the tailoring business: Hugo Boss, Tiger, Sweden, Drycon, which are relevant here in my market. And they have huge marketing budgets, and obviously as a starting up brand, as a coming up brand, I don't have that. So I created a difference with different humans on the point of sale. What I mean by that is that I cooperated with artists from a lot of fields: musicians, magicians, cartoonists, creative people all over the field who helped me to generate a quite outstanding momentum together with consumers at the point of sale in a multi-label environment. Okay, so I always had it for a couple of business fields. Coming back to your questions, I had a wholesale approach, as just discussed, or I still have it, and I have a very strong B2C approach in my small showroom here in Stuttgart, where consumers can come in by appointment, and I will dedicate them 1.5 to 2 hours to co-create our product together with them. So my approach is, it's our fits on your measurements. So we principally co-create the product with the consumers. That's what we're doing with retailers as well, but the retailer then got it hanging ready to wear. And you understand my point?
Yeah, but it's how does it, like, from a D2C from the perspective, I understand, right? Because people are physically there and you just take your measurements and you then produce whatever item or product they want. But from a retail
Mhm.
perspective, how do you fit this into, you know, specific order sizes and specific dates, delivery dates, and again, how does this fit on the
Okay, so
fashion
once
machine?
coming back once again, so I have two channels. I have my B2B channel, I have my B2C channel. Okay, with my B2B channel, I'm working together with high-end stores, foremost in Germany at the moment. Okay, so they are buying ready to wear, but I have a much less lead time when I'm only having 6 weeks, so I'm very close to markets. Let's say markets. How you call it? Sorry, my English is a bit fucked up today,
It's
man.
okay. Take your time.
To market developments, to aesthetic market development. So I'm very close to them. I only have a lead time of 4 to 6 weeks to deliver to retail ready to wear. Okay.
Okay.
Wherever my brand is placed ready to wear, I'm highlighting my brand with special people activations. Okay. So every Friday, Saturday, I'm having a special activation at a partner retailer in order to help in promoting our ready to wear approach. And my figures are quite strong. So I'm keep on progressing with that. And on the same time, I'm having a B2C, like a direct to consumer approach in my showroom or via trunk shows at specific retailers where I meet the consumers on my, I hate the wording made to measure, but on my made to fit smooth, I'm calling, I rather love it to call it made to fit smooth, where consumers can have access to my made to fit smooth products. Okay, so I have both. I have ready to wear and I have this made to fit smooth process.
Right. And there are different value propositions, right? The value proposition from B2B is mainly the unique, again, style of mixing tailoring with streetwear at a ready to
Yeah,
wear level. And then from a
yeah.
D2C perspective, is the entire made to, as you said, made to measure or made to fit smooth experience.
Yes, but I'm having my fit, so it's not like that the consumer comes to us with a
Of course,
Pinterest
it's the
picture.
same. So it's the same value proposition because you have very specific fits and a very specific concept that makes tailoring with street.
Yes,
But again, it's optimized for the consumer through the showroom. But the value proposition is essentially the same thing. It's just in
yes,
one,
yes,
it's
correct.
in one, it's more personal. The approach is much more personal than the other.
Yes,
The D2C
yes.
than the B2B. Okay.
Yes. So I want to create an special momentum. So that's why I call it the private tailoring service, let's say, because I really want to make it private. I want to make it direct. I want to make it outstanding. And foremost, I want to co-create together with my clients. Okay. And the co-creation comes with facts like what lining do we enter? What kind of buttons? There I give my consumers, let's say on a B2C, on my B2C approach, there I give the freedom to pick and to co-create together with me.
Interesting.
Okay. And yeah, and because I really believe in the co-creation, because as soon as my consumer is leaving my showroom, he's like the best ambassador for me, you know. He knows how to describe a suit, he knows how to explain a suit, because
Yeah,
that's the
he's selling the
journey.
product for you.
Yes, definitely.
Interesting. And so far, what's the biggest revenue driver for the business? B2B or B2C?
They are both quite equal because, you know, of course, like a department store like Bräuninger with 12 stores, they do get a volume, but I'm really not satisfied with high volume. So every suit I'm initiating, it's only 10 pieces per point of sale. I'm selling. I don't want to have it more, and what's sold out, it's sold out. So I don't want to over saturate the whole market with goods, you know. I don't want to do that. My goods are not available online on purpose. I'm not allowing all retailers to sell my stuff online. I really want to have this physical experience of the consumers at our dance floors, let's say.
Interesting.
And
And go ahead, sorry.
no, and the revenues are quite equal, but of course, the bigger potential when it comes to revenues is of course wholesale. But wholesale is a bit sick at the moment, so I'm quite hesitating delivering a lot of quantities to the markets.
Interesting. Okay. And what about from a, well, I guess the question I want to ask you is what were the first steps to sort of like get the started? Did you have a job and you developed a full collection on the side and you used the samples from the collection to start expanding wholesale? Or did you, the first thing that you do was just have one product and start the showroom? Like what was the first step, strategically
So I
speaking?
think my secret is what kills fashion brands are dead stocks. Okay, so what I did from day one is that everything I'm doing is on demand. I don't have stocks.
So
So
no risk,
if
no
B2B,
financial.
if a B2B order comes in, for example, from an retailer, I start produce it and I deliver it to 100%. If a final consumer steps into my showroom, I produce it, and after in 3 weeks, I'm gonna deliver that suit to that consumer. I even have a way to produce it in 5 days, 5 working days, but in average, it takes 3 weeks to deliver my product, let's say. And I never have stock, and it's always the co-creation on B2B level with a retailer or on B2C level with the final consumer. So be, let's say, hesitating with huge stocks if you don't have a sales channels which is really satisfying and trustworthy. So that's the first thing. Second, I'm teaching, I'm a lecturer, and I'm consulting by side. So it's always good to have, for the first 1 or 2 years, to have
Extra cash
multiple
flow.
income streams,
Yeah, extra
that
cash
you're
flow.
not reliable on your business. Because when you are 100% reliable on your brand, let's say, for the first years, I heard or I read that a proper sustainable fashion brand needs 7 years in order to progress to a peak. And I'm there for 2 years now, and I don't want to push the brands to a certain point that I need to get into price reductions very early in order to guarantee my cash flow, etc. So I want to have it step by step. So
Yeah.
in order to develop a fashion brand, it needs a certain time.
I agree. Yeah. And cash flow management is probably the biggest challenge with fashion. So if you have another job that's feeding into that cash flow is necessary, or at least you don't have to get out of the cash flow to pay yourself,
Yeah.
it's a big benefit in the first couple of years. Interesting.
And of course this on demand strategy is really paying back, because it's really satisfying not to have the pressure on big stocks.
So you don't have to take the big inventory risks, nor
No.
the stress and emotional turbulence of
Yes.
going through that process of having big orders,
Yes.
not being able to deliver, or breaking your production
Yes.
infrastructure, or just having a whole bunch of products. Yeah, I understand.
Hey,
And
bro, give me 1 second. Give you 1 second. UPS just ring my bell. Give me 1 second.
take your time,
I'm
Sam.
so sorry. 1 second. Hello? Hello? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm back.
No rush, man. No rush. Again, these things can happen. Cool. And what do you think are the essential things to consider or work on if you want to implement this model? Like, do you need to know how to do the product yourself? Do you need to hire an internal tailor? What are the pieces that are a must in order for this business model to sort of like function on the early days?
So without being arrogant, like the majority of so-called fashion brands who are coming up the last years are digital driven sweatshirt and t-shirt suppliers, I would say.
Yeah, they don't know how to make
And
product.
and in my opinion, this is not a fashion brand. So that's why so tailoring had always been my passion, and I have like a track record in the fashion industry, and I really invested a lot of time in my life into product and into product creating. So this comes by doing, if I'm honest. My made to fit smooth approach allows me to play and to test a lot with my final consumers based on suits, which helps me to generate good ready to wear products for my retailers at the other end. So, and this really comes to centimeters and to details. And what I would recommend is to create as much product as your budget allows, to drop as much as possible, and to create learnings based on product as much as possible. And then you are always on your way to reach your final product, or the perfect product. But this is like a momentum which is never reached, because a perfect product at a certain momentum is like 2 weeks later not a perfect product anymore. So this is like a permanent development. Keep producing, keep investing into your products, keep optimizing your products. I think that's the key. Never stop optimizing your whole product. Yeah.
Yeah, simple. No, I agree. I mean, if you're going to start a fashion brand, you need to learn. I think there's two main functions within kind of like the fashion brand sphere. It's either you focus on the business aspect, which is essentially a merchandiser slash
Yeah.
cash flow manager
Yeah.
slash marketer, or
Yeah.
you do product. And
Yeah.
it's ironic, right? Because if you start a fashion brand, you should be able to make fashion. But
Yeah, man.
last 10 years, most brands that start don't know how to make fashion. I was like
Yeah.
an engineer trying to start a software, but outsources the software and just,
Yeah, man.
I get it. And I think that the flexibility that it gives you on the short term that you need early on to just, oh, I have a customer walk in, I can literally lock myself in a room, get a fabric from wherever, and create the product for them. As long as you say, you have the experience, which the experience just comes through doing shit and doing shit
Yeah.
multiple times. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, there's that flexibility that's required. Again, you need to be able to create your product. You don't need to be able to rely on on
Yeah.
sampling process or on a manufacturing partner, et cetera, et cetera.
So I think I think we all out of this industry who really have a track record in this industry or want to, let's say, spend the whole career in this industry. In my opinion, if I can decide, I would never do something rather than fashion. This is my thing. It always has been my thing. It's my thing, and it will be my thing in the future, I would say. But I think we need to protect our industry a bit. Our industry can be compared with the music industry, right? So imagine every another day there's another artist with an auto-tune voice who is just distracting the whole industry, let's say, with no talent. You know what I mean? So this is really craftsmanship in our industry. This is really a hard work. This is still products made by human, and we need to protect that. And not everybody who's putting a logo on a sweatshirt is able to take part in this industry. There's once again, my bell is ringing once again.
Take your
I'm so
time. Take your
sorry. I
time,
will be
Sammy.
back in a
Take your time,
second.
Sammy.
But I hear you. I hear you. We can continue.
That's okay. I'll wait for you, brother. There's no rush.
Hello? There's like an urgent parcel. Hello? All right, I'm back. All right, I'm back.
Cool. Okay. So if at its foundation, like foundationally, what you need to be implementing this business model is to know how to make the product yourself and know how to make good product yourself. How long did it take you to learn? Like number one, where were you sourcing the fabrics, which is the material that you need to improve your craft? But secondly, how long did it actually take you to get to a point where you know what, this my abilities are at a level where I can actually start selling good. I know you said that this process never ends, like the artist becoming a better artist, but how long did it take you to get good enough, essentially?
I would say, you know, if you really want to be a fashion brand which is sold by other retailers, by other professionals as well, I think your product needs to fit the tribe you wanna appeal your fashion to, let's say. So I always had the feeling I have a perfect product if this is aesthetically and pragmatically sold to a guy who got a size 46, and it looks equally cool on a guy with a size 58 or 60. So if you can ensure that, if you can deliver that swag to the whole, let's say, to the whole palette of possible consumers, I think then you are one step ahead, you know? So you need to create a product which works for a lot of different people. And then you are there.
Interesting. And just you started with one product, right?
I actually started with a suit, or with suits in general, with suits and with suits. But it, during my time on retail, because I'm spending literally every Saturday on a retail floor where they sell my goods from AM to PM, let's say. because that's my best input. I see a lot of consumers trying my stuff, buying it or not buying it for a certain reason, but that reason really interested me. Why he's not buying it? Is it the price? Is it the product? Is this like I'm affordable luxury? So my suits are around 900 euros at the moment. My pants are at 250. And during that process, I figured out that my trousers are really running well. And so I changed a bit my focus on suits and I went more into trousers. So I have a key of selling, let's say, 5 trousers on 1 suit. So this changed a bit and you need to be flexible with it. But I really, really, let's say, perfected my suits. And then I moved on with other product categories.
And how long did it take you to perfect your suits?
Again, never ending, but at least a year with a lot of at least a year to before I had my first, or a year and a half even to have my first year to say, okay, this is where I want to be, you know.
Interesting.
And it's still progressing.
Of course. And what were you sourcing the fabrics from?
I'm sourcing the fabrics on fairs. I'm sourcing the fabrics, mainly on fairs.
Local fairs.
Mainly on fairs. No, like the Premier Vision in Paris, for example. There's a good fair in Munich. There's like international trade fairs where mills are exhibiting, where fabric producer exhibiting, and then really by touch speaking, and then test.
Quite fascinating.
And other than other suppliers or other, I don't want to be compared to other made-to-measure stores because this is really not my approach. I have more like a brand approach on that. I really, but they would have like a portfolio of 1,000 of fabrics. I don't do that like that. I have 10 fabrics.
Very focused.
Very, very focused. But those fabrics, I would travel the world with them, you know. If I have only one backpack and I could carry 3 suits, I have this covered with my, you know what I mean? Like,
I got it.
Those are really reliable for me.
Yeah, you managed to simplify not only your creative vision,
yes,
to its most foundational level, but also your merchandising. So essentially your product offering. Interesting.
So
and of course, again, it's going to keep
and
expanding over time, but there's a foundation to every brand, and you know what that is. 10 fabrics, suits.
That's it. And yes, and if I talk to my consumers, okay, and my best input are my made to fit smooth consumers, let's say, because I'm working really on a 1-by-1 very close with them. And they tell me what they need and what they want, and I know that they are traveling a lot, and I know that they want to have it like stress free, you know, they want to have it wrinkle free. They want to wear it every day. They travel a lot with them. They cannot afford to buy 10 suits. They want to have 2 suits, which really make it over the whole year, let's say. So this is like the criteria my consumers have towards my brand and my products. And then I'm sourcing, and then I'm looking for fabrics which are meeting up with that. It's not a high-end Loro Piana 150 wool. This is not the right fabric for my consumers. And I'm not doing it because for marketing reasons, I'm sticking to the fabrics I'm having.
Interesting. And okay, so 2 questions, but I'm going to ask the first one. You're in Stuttgart, Germany. So my first assumption is that there wouldn't be a big market of customers, especially in-person customers that would go for a product like this. So what was your marketing approach? How did you find these customers, or how did these customers find you?
Oh, I don't know if this was luck or whatever, but my biggest inspiration fields, or my way to communicate with my consumers, are two fields. It's of course it's tailoring my products, but I'm really, really heavily influenced by the European football culture. So I was really one of the first who wore a soccer shirt with a suit. And then very early, my local football club here, which is a Bundesliga club, so very, very well known all over Germany or Europe, they noticed my work, and I did the first official collaboration with them. So I created authentic jerseys, shirts, hoodies, in a more fashion design language, and we sold it in a limited capsule, which helped me to promote the brand itself. Then, of course, my presentation in at one of the best German department stores, which is Bräuninger. I received a lot of, let's say, attention of the of journalists, of fashion journalists as well here in Germany. So I was in Esquire, I was in the Pause magazine, I was in the German Textilwirtschaft. So I had a lot of, because I have a different approach. This shorter timeline to market is only 6 weeks. My whole approach with oversized suits in combination with the European football culture. So this whole concept is quite fresh and new. So that's why I had a huge interest besides journalists out of the European market, let's say, and this helped me to promote the brand a lot. And coming back to the essentials, my go-to-market strategy is via trunk shows. So I'm popping up in other German cities with this trunk shows, with a strong partner who invites consumers, and we are creating this momentum together.
Interesting. And what are these partners typically for? Like, are they galleries? Are they small retail?
Can be a gallery, can be a retailer, can not from a small retailer. You can. Everyone is looking for new solutions at the moment. So this is why I'm happy at the moment, because the market is in such a change. Because I think this trunk show concept, because it's completely on demand, they don't need to buy goods up front. We create a momentum, a special momentum
they're
for
giving
their
their customers an excuse to visit their stores.
Yeah, sure. I have a musician with us, for example. So it's not only small retailers; it's always also big retailers, well-known retailers. It's influencers. It's networking people. It can be everyone. So I'm really democratic with it. As soon as we have like at least 15 appointments on a day, we do a trunk show in another city, and it's getting more and more easier because we are more and more well known.
Fascinating. Okay. By the way, did you see the new Japan jersey before we go into more of a business conversation? The
It's
Yo-Yo
beautiful.
jersey. It's amazing, right?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I love how football, or the whole football culture, is melting into the whole fashion industry, because I really think it's a good synergy. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Interesting. And overall, what do you think are the pros and the cons of your D2C model and of the B2B model?
On the B2B model, of course, you're relying on the performance of the retailers you're selling to. And I'm really convinced that they need more and more help. I think the future will look like that retailers, or good retailers, are just sub-renting their retail floor to brands, and the brands need to do the rest. I think we need to be aware of that development. That's the risk, because you're not selling the goods on your own. You need to be you're in the hands of the retailers, how they do that. So if he decides to put everything on sale 4 weeks before all others, that's their right to do that. So
Yeah, you have no
you're
control.
really much no, you have not that 100% control. You're still reliable on them. And D2C is, honestly, if you're not doing it digitally like I'm doing, it's really stand up, get up, do your homework, promote your brands, talk to a lot of people, network, and then the business comes by itself, let's say.
Right. So wholesale requires less energy, but you lose control of the process and you lose the direct relationship with consumers. And the D2C model, you have that, you have control, you have a relationship with the consumer, but you require a lot more work and energy to get the marketing and the traffic going, and essentially the brand awareness out there.
Yes. You need good and outstanding people. Retail is about people. It's a people's business. And people can make the difference, and people will always make the difference. So it's really, and the thing is, at least here in Central Europe, we lost a lot of good salespeople in a retail environment to other industries. because we're not paying that good. We have really unpredictable working hours. You know, you need to work every Saturday because it's the most important day. So it's not attractive anymore to good salespeople. And with my concept, because my strategy is to have in every major German city, in the first step, I want to have like a brand ambassador working there, selling my stuff to consumers, to companies, whatever. This is like my target, but it really comes with good people. And this is the biggest challenge, to add good people to your brands, well, who are helping promoting that brand. Yeah.
Interesting. And what about cash flows and profits? Which one's better? Or what are the pros and cons, one versus the other?
Because I have a smaller lead or a shorter lead time with 3 weeks in a direct to consumer, on my direct to consumer approach, of course I can guarantee a better cash flow with D2C. Of course I have a better margin there as well. But this is all about planning, you know. But again, it comes back to my on-demand approach, which helps me to have cash flow freedom and a lot of financial freedom, because I'm not pushed or threatened to do a lot of heavy discounts or a lot of discount activations around my brand. This helps me a lot to ensure good cash flow, because I always try to sell full margin, and this happens with my made to fit smooth approach in 9 of 10 times. And yeah, this is the best you can generate, yeah, in my opinion.
Interesting. And how did you get the lead times to be so low?
I'm producing in Europe, and yes, I have good producing partners who allows me that.
Interesting. How did you?
Of course, they're not the cheapest. Sorry, of course they are not the cheapest, but yeah, this is really important to me, that I can ensure a lead time to a final consumer within 3 weeks. Or if he pays 80 euros extra, for example, it's within 5 working days where I can produce a suit. And this is really cool.
But if you're working with external manufacturing partners, what about MOQs?
Oh, this is the thing. I can produce a single product, and I can produce 500. I have 2 factories who I work together with. And in my opinion, MOQs are so outdated. Of course, it comes along with T-shirts and sweatshirts, etc., that you have MOQs of 100 or 150, but try to push them towards this MOQ thing, because it's not. Do your homework, visit 2 factories more, but I'm sure that you will find a factory which meets up with your MOQs, which allows you to breathe and to live.
Okay, fascinating. Interesting.
But I'm quite flexible. For me, I can produce a single item, and I can produce 500 pieces with my 2 producers.
Wow. And overall, what do you think? What's the biggest? What has been the biggest challenge for you? Kind of like building this new model.
I think the biggest challenge in general is you as an entrepreneur yourself on a daily basis. It's like, be humble after wins and be more conscious after a lose, let's say. I think it's the daily base, you know. If you start as an entrepreneur, you work on your own first. You don't have colleagues, you don't have like a lot of people around you to help you on a daily basis with your daily questions, you know. You need to do your homework yourself, you need to educate yourself, you need to progress yourself, you need to process yourself. But you know, like it comes a lot of freedom with it, same time. But I think this is the journey with yourself, to be an entrepreneur and to not give up, and to always continue, and to have this, your big goal always in the head where you had to, and never give it up, you know. It's like,
Interesting.
be humble after a win, and be more conscious after a loss, let's say. Yeah.
Interesting. And what about maybe a more specific challenge for you? Was it cash flow management? Was it getting the initial investment? Was it finding the right manufacturing partners? Again, do you think was the most challenging part for you? Was it the marketing? Was it the wholesale?
Product, I would say at the beginning. It's getting more into marketing now, but it's product. At the beginning, it was really, really product.
What about product was the most challenging thing?
To get the right fit on the right fabric to the right price, delivered to the right time. This
And
is, I think,
go ahead, sorry.
sorry, I think this was my biggest challenge at the beginning. Yeah,
And how did you
but it
talk?
was, yeah, it was during Corona time, and I set a small budget for myself, which allowed me to test. And then, of course, the first consumers were out of my private network, let's say. They co-created and co-tested with me as well. I said to them, hey, I cannot assure you that this first suit will be like 100% nailed on point. And they allowed me to test together with them. And this was really, really a big advantage for me to have people in my network, in my close network, which are aware of fashion, which are working in fashion, or which are very much interested in fashion since a long time, who can discuss and judge a product together with me. And this was the first year my development, that I created suits for a lot of people, which I really trust in their expertise and in their knowledge about products. And with them, I think I did. My very first suits were awful. They still wear it until today, but when I see them, I say, "Oh, did I produce that?" But then started the journey. It was only the start of the journey, and those people helped me to co-create products with them, which set the base or the fundamentum for my products, which I'm having out now.
Interesting. Okay. And what was your approach for improving for going through the product challenge? Was it simply repetition, trying one thing, failing, learning, getting the fabric wrong, getting another fabric, testing it, getting the size wrong, getting another sample and getting it right? Like, what was the process like? How did you tackle the challenges?
That's how it is. That's how it is. Produce it, fit it, judge it, correct it, produce it again.
And from an investment perspective, how much do you think anybody that's at least aspiring to build something similar, or maybe not the same, but again, starting something, what do you think is a healthy budget?
Or this really depends on the product groups you are working with. Um, it really depends on the product groups. This is hard to say. If you wanna make a change within the denim industry, for example, this is really expensive because denim, for example, is a service product. So you need to always have all sizes available. And if you need to have all sizes available, that means that you need to nail it on all sizes. And this is like more expensive than on a t-shirt, for example, or on a cap or on an accessory or whatever. So it really depends on your product group.
Right. So if you have to give like an average range, let's say you're starting over again, or you're coming through an idea and you want to have like a range. I know it depends on the product group and category, as you mentioned, but what's a good range to consider for people that have no idea?
The more the better. I would say the more the better. It's hard to tell, really. It's hard to nail it on a figure. The more the better.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, which goes back to the fact that you were saying have another job when you're starting. Have
Bro,
another,
you
yeah.
need in my opinion, you need 7 years, to have like a recognizable, solid fashion brand out there, which is really recognized on a profound and professional level. Then you need to have 7 years. And you need to you know and you need to live during those 7 years. I have 2 kids, for example. You need to bring food on the table. So you need to find for yourself the right strategy and the right sales channels in order to but to succeed in that journey, let's say. But start small, start with small quantities, start with your own personal network, with your own private network. Don't invest into big stores, big online shops. Start slow, start naturally, grow with your network, make products as good as possible, and then take one step by the other.
Amazing, Sammy. And last question just before, so that we wrap up the interview. What would be the biggest business piece of business advice you'd give yourself if you had to start all over? And let's make it very specific, right? Like more strategic. Like instead of maybe focus more on wholesale at the beginning and then focus on direct consumer, or look for factories on this part again. What would be a very strategic but business specific piece of advice that you give yourself if you had to start over all over again?
That's a tough question, man. That's a tough question. Don't create big stocks.
Well,
Why?
seems obvious to you, but I'm sure a lot of people are still haven't made that mistake.
Um, don't create big stocks which are not selling. It's as simple as it is, man. Simple as it is. Fix your sales channels, fix your product, and then grow naturally.
Amazing. Wow.
And create a product which your brand can be well known for. So if you ask me what product would I buy from you, or I would really recommend my suit or my trouser, let's say. But have a product which is really perfect, which is close to perfection. As discussed, it's always a journey, but create a product which stands for your brand, which stands for your values, which stands for your whole aesthetic approach, let's say, which is outstanding, which can beat on a product level all the other brands which are out there. Create that perfect product and then go for it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
This is always the best art.
I agree. I heard there was a very smart comment to kind of like define this approach is at the very beginning, you're not a brand, you're a product. And
Yeah.
eventually you are a product that becomes a brand, not the other way around.
That's it. That's it. That's I think the best advice I can get. Be a product expert and then develop yourself to a brand. Don't start with a brand and then create a product.
Yeah, amazing.
I think the lifeline of a concept which is first a brand and then a product is like this.
It's six.
And a life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the lifeline of a product which becomes a brand is like that. And this is what I'm trying, at least, to really assure pro. That's why I never spend a single euro into my social media activities. That's why I really seem very small from the outside, because I really want to make the difference on a physical momentum and not on a purely digital momentum.
I understand.
This is very, very important to me.
I understand. I think that's amazing. And as you said, it's incredibly important, especially given the current fashion landscape and the challenges with the kind of like fashion machine. But amazing, Sammy. Really unique conversation. I think that this is clearly why I like to have these conversations, because my interview style can be very adaptive based on every single guest. Every single
Perfect.
guest
Keep on like that.
has like a different, obviously the end result would be a written format, but it'll be just that it's more inclusive and succinct. But I loved it. I love that. I think that this is very unique. We actually have a community of like entrepreneurs where we have like weekly discussions, and this is kind of like always our recurring kind of like topic is people want to start getting collections or start expanding internationally or develop different categories, and it's always kind of like the same thing is just be more disciplined and be more focused and be more patient instead of trying to do all those things at the same time.
Yeah, patience is very important, man. Patience is very important.
Amazing. Cool. Do you have any thoughts or questions or any comments?
No, it felt cool. I'm sorry that my English at the moment is so fucked up a bit, man.
Perfect, bro. Don't worry about it. It's perfect. And at the end, the transcript is gonna make you seem more fluent than me. So don't worry about it. Cool, man.
No, man, the rest is fine, man.
All right. I'll send the interview in a second as soon as it's done rendering. If you need to revise it, let me know. Again, I'll keep you updated on the process. We have a pretty long lead time, like a month and a half, because we got stock due to Fashion Week. We had a whole bunch of interviews like waiting on to line up. But I'll keep you updated. And obviously, if anything comes up, you can also shoot me an email any day, anytime.
Will you be in Copenhagen by chance?
No, no, I typically only travel to Paris because Japan is only really relevant in Paris. I mean, I might do Copenhagen in a very extreme circumstance because there's a brand that we're working with that presents in Copenhagen. But if I am, I'll obviously let you know. If I don't know, do you have any plans on being in Tokyo?
Not yet, but I will be presented in Copenhagen as well. So this will be quite nice, man.
Amazing. Yeah, would love to. Would love to. I'll keep you updated, Sammy. And by the way, if you ever want to join our community, dude, I'll be a pleasure to have you on. I think there's a lot of
Hey,
value.
please,
I'll
please,
send
please invite. How can I be part of it, man?
I'll send you all the information. Right now we're getting started essentially. Where it's still very, very curated. But I'll send you all the information through email and we can interact and I'll send you the invitation so that you can join.
Please, if I can be a part of it, I would welcome that.
Amazing, Sammy. Let's do that then. I'll send everything and stay in touch, okay?
Okay, cool, man.
All right, brother.
Esteban, gracias.
Un placer, hermano.
It's a pleasure. Have a good day, man. Have a good
Likewise.
night. It's
Evening, yeah,
it's still
7
11
p.m.
a.m. here, but all the
Yeah,
best to Tokyo, bro.
Thank you, brother. Have a good start to your day as well.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao, bro. Ciao.
Bye-bye.